Alright guys, here it is, what you've all been waiting for. This is the first call, or I'm sorry, the final call for I'm calling it now, historic East Coast snowstorm for I-95 from the big cities, from Roanoke, Virginia, all the way up to Boston, Massachusetts. That's right, I said a historic storm from Roanoke, Virginia to Boston, Massachusetts, with amounts exceeding a foot throughout the entirety of the big cities. All right, let's go over current radar trends, then we'll get to the forecast shortly after that. And here we go. Let's just get right down into it. Here you can see, here's the beginnings of the heavy edge of the precip just pushing its way north. Here's the first big convective band, where, and I'm going to go over in a second where this goes. Here's the deformation band forming in here, and basically where you get the two of these to intersect, that's where you get the heaviest snows. And I'm going to outline exactly where I think that area is in just a few moments here. So absolutely classic presentation for a nor'easter. It just looks beautiful on radar. I don't know what else to say. Now, another quick thing to note, if you notice, there's sort of this little boundary sitting in here. North side of the boundary, and I outlined this in my forecast, north side of this boundary here, I think is the borderline of a foot, where the heaviest, where those deformation snows and the convective snows, that convective pool that's just throwing moisture in off the Atlantic, come together. And usually the atmosphere sets up these convergence boundaries, and it's a good way of showing us where things are going to get big. So just wanted to point that out. Pretty big deal here. All right, moving on to the visible satellite, just so you can take a look at this monster. Here's your close 500 low sitting in here. Look at that. That's beautiful. And this thing's basically going to work its way right. Actually, let me go back on that. It's going to work its way down, around, and up, and sort of in through here, and right up here, just touching. It's a little hard to do these straight lines when you on this map, but basically the upper low is going to track right along. Oops, there we go. Right like that. That's my feeling is how this upper low is going to track, and you can see it just getting ready to round the corner now. Now, here's where I think that the heaviest snows are going to intersect. Let's take a look at the infrared satellite. Here you can see this plume of moisture. It's coming straight north, right into the slot in here. So that's the slot. Actually, disregard this line over here. Let me do this a little better. Right in here. Right in here. And then it's basically, I think it's going to turn off to the northeast as the low exits the coast, and right like that. That's where I think that those convective snows and the deformation bands are going to intersect. And the 15Z Ruck supports me very nicely on that, although I think we're pretty much past models. Again, two big things. Deformation band in here, convective snows, or convective plume in here, and where the two intersect, that's where things go big. And along in 25 miles, either side of that line, I think that's where you see significant amounts of snow, heavy rates, possibly upwards of 3-4 inches an hour at times, and that's where you can certainly see some thunder snow. Let's take a look now at the 3-hour pressure change. This is valid at about 11 o'clock a.m. And by the way, it's 12:16 p.m. For those of you who are wondering what time the update is now. You can see the strongest pressure falls are right in here, a little bit of a minimum in here, and another pressure fall center sitting out there. I think that basically the low, which is sitting right in here right now, takes a track right like this. Up here inside Hatteras, outside the Delmarva, right across the benchmark, up, and then basically cuts out to sea up here. That's what I believe the low pressure track is going to be. We'll see how well that verifies, but that's absolutely going to clobber I-95 corridor. This is the perfect setup for the entirety of I-95. Now, the other thing that I want to discuss with this is I think that continually the models have under-forecasted the strength of this low pressure. We're currently seeing the low, which again is sitting right in here, of 1,003 millibars. Remember, if we go back about 36 hours, the models hit a 1003 millibar low by the time it gets here. I think we're probably talking about maybe 1001 in here, maybe 998 in here, 995 or so in here, and 992 up here. That's my current thinking, and with this 1046 millibar high sitting back here, look at this pressure gradient on the west side of this low. You can see it already right in here. The winds are going to get fierce, and these fierce winds are going to move right up here, right through the area that gets the heaviest snows. And so I believe that blizzard conditions are likely anywhere from DC all the way up to Boston, maybe even Roanoke as well, but definitely from DC to Boston, blizzard conditions likely overnight, whiteout conditions likely as this thing pushes through. But we're not done yet. Here's the current ruck depiction. Again, you can see this low. It's about 536 decameters right now. Now the GFS does something. Well, we'll get to that in a second. But here is the. Here you can see. Here's this piece of vorticity dropping down. Here's this whole thing. The phasing is going to occur, and it's just insane. All right, here's the ruck. 15Z ruck well illustrates my idea. You can see here's the convective plume sitting right in here. Here's the deformation snows, and look at where those intersect, right over the area that you're going to see in a second, that I have my my 1 to 2 feet and greater forecast. So remember, when those two look on the radar tonight, that's the continuing trend. Where those places intersect, those areas are going to totally get clocked. All right, back to the 500 map 1 second, because I just want to point out something. January 1996 was 534 decameters sitting right in here. Now, I don't know if this is right, but the 12Z GFS tomorrow has 534 decameters sitting right over DCA. That would mean that the upper level low with this system matches January 96, but further north and east. Again, I think that might be a little bit overdone, but still incredible to see that sort of thing occurring. All right, and now what you've all been waiting for. The final, March 1st through 3rd, 2009, final call map. Ta-da! Here we go. Let's start to outline some things. Again, I think that the best thing is, remember, from Roanoke through Boston, a foot plus, foot in each one of those major cities. And you basically can draw a line. Basically, you can see how tight I'm making the cutoff in here. I really believe, even more so than before, that this is an extremely tight gradient. Your heaviest snows are going to be either side of a line from I-95, 25 miles northwest of the cities, and about 50 miles southeast. Ocean City, Maryland, I think you see one of your best snows in years. New Jersey looks to absolutely get clocked, as well as up here in Boston, and an area I think northeast of Baltimore is going to do very well. So with that in mind, with this map, I'd say that we'd see isolated spots with 30-inch totals in here, and up in here, because that's where I think that we're going to see. You're going to really see the biggest intersection of the deformation zone and the convective plumes. So that's my call. I'm sticking to it. For those of you who wonder where our important snow mix line comes, and where I think the furthest north it gets, I basically am going to draw a line that looks, discount this part down here because, well, rain, snow, it's going to be starting as rain and changing over to snow. But once the snow starts, pretty much, let's say north of Roanoke, I'd say, let me clarify that here. When it starts north of Roanoke, I'd say that the rain snow line goes, or the rain mix line goes something, like that. Oops. Right, like that. So all north of that, you're all snow, and you're absolutely getting clobbered. Good luck, guys. Enjoy this. We're gonna have live video for you as it comes in. Thanks for watching, and good luck.